Chapter 85 begins with Jinwoo realizing that his enemies have grown significantly stronger, just as Esil had warned him. The guards in the castles are more numerous, and the rank of these foes is higher compared to those he faced on the lower floors. Despite his intelligence stat increasing, the battles have become more draining as his shadows are repeatedly destroyed and regenerated. After numerous fights, Jinwoo reaches the 97th floor and achieves level 90. Esil reflects on Jinwoo's victories, having defeated the Ricardo clan, the 5th strongest clan, and the Paidos clan, the 4th strongest. She asks Jinwoo if all humans are as strong as he is. Jinwoo replies that perhaps one or two may be, thinking of Chairman Go and Cha Haein, both of whom he believes may be stronger than S-rank hunters. He also thinks that Cha Haein has a stronger aura than Choi Jong-in, the ultimate hunter. Jinwoo realizes that there's a significant difference in strength even among S-rank hunters, and that the gap is substantial because the manometer cannot accurately measure their true power. He remembers that he was once as strong as Chairman Go, but now that he's reached the 90th floor, he wonders if their strengths are still the same. Jinwoo tells Esil that she can now leave and return to the lower floors, as he will handle things from here. Esil is shocked, stammering, wondering if she is no longer useful. Jinwoo places a hand on her shoulder and praises her for her efforts, thanking her for all her help. Esil, saddened by this, suddenly declares that she won't go back, and she wants to stay with him, eager to see what he can achieve. Jinwoo simply looks at her and says, "Suit yourself, then." At that moment, the system announces that they are entering the 98th floor. The scene shifts to Incheon International Airport, where a man and a woman have just arrived. The man is Goto Ruji, an S-rank hunter from Japan. He inquires about the commotion, mentioning that there is an extremely powerful presence at the airport. His companion, who calls him Mr. Goto, asks if this person is stronger than him. Ruji doesn't answer but ponders whether he might be mistaken. After all, what could such a powerful being be doing in such a place? Soon, a hunter from the surveillance team arrives, apologizing for the delay due to the large number of people. Ruji tells him it's fine and asks if anything unusual is happening at the airport. The hunter responds that a US-based hunter has come to South Korea for personal business, and there's no cause for concern. Ruji wonders why an American hunter is here, considering the recent events. The hunter gestures toward the exit. The scene transitions to the office of the Korean Hunter Association, where Chairman Go is meeting with Goto Ruji. Chairman Go thinks to himself that, so this is Goto Ruji, the only hunter in Asia who can compete with Liu Jigang, and he is surely no ordinary man. Japan currently has 21 S-rank hunters, with 11 belonging to the same guild as Ruji, the Blade Guild. Unlike South Korea, where 5 major guilds compete, Japan has a single guild that holds all the power, and Ruji's guild is the second largest in Asia, after the Chinese guild. Ruji introduces his companion, Hanikawa, his interpreter, who will relay his words. Hanikawa mentions that due to the disastrous events, they have concluded that Jeju Island can no longer be ignored. They pledge to offer full support to Korea. Chairman Go is taken aback upon hearing this. Goto Ruji quickly gets to the point, stating that he came to propose the creation of a united strike squad composed of top-ranking hunters. Chairman Go asks if this means an alliance will be formed to attack the ants at their base camp. Yes, exactly, Ruji replies. Chairman Go acknowledges Japan's top hunters are extraordinary but warns that attacking Jeju Island, the heart of the ant colony, is far too dangerous. Ruji counters that since this is an S-rank gate, they have already prepared a strategy. Hanikawa hands over a file containing data they've gathered on the ants. Ruji explains that the strength of a single ant is equal to that of a high-ranking hunter, but their fatal weakness is their short lifespan. Ants only live for 1 year. Therefore, if they can kill the queen, all the ants on Jeju Island will perish within a year. Chairman Go thinks to himself that this plan sounds more feasible than trying to exterminate the entire colony, but he questions how difficult it would be to kill the queen, considering the ants would sacrifice themselves to protect her. Ruji answers, of course, we'll have to pass through thousands of ants to capture their queen, but we won't have to fight them if we can get the ants to leave their tunnels. A panel member asks if that's even possible. Ruji confirms it is, as it has happened 3 times before when South Korean hunters arrived on Jeju Island for a search and destroy mission. The ants left their tunnels and headed for the battlefield. Impossible, one panel member responds. Hanikawa assures them that the events were confirmed by their mana radars, and they can refer to the documents for further details. Ruji adds that 10 of their 11 S-rank hunters, including himself, are planning to participate in the Jeju Island raid. They will distract the ants while South Korea's top hunters deal with the queen. The rest of his guild members will arrive soon. The panel members are stunned to hear that 10 S-rank hunters, including Goto Ruji, will participate in the raid. Chairman Go thinks that if 10 S-rank hunters successfully create a diversion, only the queen and a few guards will remain in the tunnels. Ruji further explains that their plan is to split into separate teams and attack from all directions, forcing the ants to focus on them while the queen stays in the empty tunnels. The South Korean S-rank hunters will infiltrate the tunnels by helicopter, defeat the queen, and then evacuate. Chairman Go finds the plan plausible but wonders why Goto Ruji is so willing to risk sending 10 S-rank hunters for this raid. Goto Ruji, in turn, reflects that all national-level hunters have raided S-rank gates before. Given his previous performance, completing the Jeju Island raid could earn him the title of national-level hunter, which would benefit Japan. As this is an S-rank gate, the 10 S-rank hunters were carefully selected to minimize risk. He believes that South Korea has no good reason to decline his offer. Chairman Go realizes that, unlike Japan, South Korea only has 8 S-rank hunters, and only 6 are capable of participating, himself excluded due to age, and Min Byung-gu, who is retired. He considers whether they can defeat the queen. Suddenly, Sung Jinwoo comes to his mind, as he defeated a boss solo in an A-rank gate. If he were to join forces with other S-rank hunters, there might be a chance. Chairman Go knows that time is of the essence, as the ants are evolving rapidly and their entire army may soon gain the ability to fly. After some thought, Chairman Go agrees with Goto Ruji, stating that once they have assessed the documents, he will send a detailed plan. Back inside the demon castle, Jinwoo has reached level 93 and made it to the 100th floor. Suddenly, a massive wyvern lands on top of a ruined castle, creating a shockwave. Riding the wyvern is Baron, the Demon King and final boss of the Demon Castle. Jinwoo, stunned, mutters, "What a remarkable force," while wondering if he can defeat such a powerful monster. Chapter 86 begins with Esil staring at Baron in fear. Even from a distance, she can feel his bloodlust. This is also the first time she's seen the Demon King. Meanwhile, Jinwoo observes Esil trembling, his thoughts racing. He realizes that the monstrous energy radiating from Baron is so overwhelming that even Esil can sense it. Jinwoo also notices the beast Baron is riding, which is flying. He thinks that the flying opponent could be troublesome. Suddenly, Jinwoo's system pops up with the name of the monster, Kaizelin, a type of wyvern. He thinks to himself that besides Esil's horse, this is the first non-demon creature he's encountered in the Demon Castle. He wonders if mountable creatures are an exception, and since it's not a demon, it's possible he can extract its shadow. Without warning, Baron raises his sword and activates a skill called Hell's Army. From the ground, countless portals appear. A massive number of demon soldiers, knights, and generals emerge, surrounding Jinwoo and Esil. Jinwoo assesses the situation and concludes that the knights and generals are at least A-rank monsters, and there are over 100 of them. Suddenly, Jinwoo speaks up. Based on his observations, he estimates that there are about 1,000 demons, while Esil, panicking, asks him what they should do. As the demons slowly close in, Jinwoo remains silent, prompting Esil to ask again. When the demons are almost upon them, Jinwoo calmly responds, "Not yet." Meanwhile, flying demons approach as well, but Jinwoo watches, seemingly waiting for the right moment. Once surrounded, Jinwoo activates his skill, Monarch Domain. This allows him to create an area where any shadow will receive a 50% status increase while fighting. Then he shouts, "Come forward," and immediately, swords and spears burst from the ground, stabbing into the demons. Jinwoo's shadow swiftly defeats a large number of demons in a surprise attack from below. Esil is stunned by what she sees. Slowly, Jinwoo's shadows emerge, while some demons who weren't hit continue to approach him. Then, Jinwoo's generals, Tank, Iron, Igris, and Tusk appear to confront the advancing demons. Tank releases a powerful strike with his claws, while Iron uses his axe to slash a demon's leg. Igris joins the fray, swiftly slashing at a demon with his sword. Tusk also doesn't hold back, using his skill, Hymn of the Blazing Fire. A wave of fireballs erupts from him, incinerating demons in their path. Esil is awestruck by what she's witnessing. Then she realizes that although Jinwoo's shadow soldiers easily defeat the other demons, the real threat is the Demon King, Baron, the supreme ruler of this place. Jinwoo, as the invader, is the one who must be eliminated. She then wonders, as a demon herself, who she should side with. At that moment, Baron generates a powerful energy ball in his mouth, launching it into the sky. A storm of thunder and lightning follows, devastating anything in its path. Jinwoo uses his coat to protect himself and Esil, the coat triggering a buff called immunity, which makes them resistant to abnormalities. He realizes that these aren't ordinary lightning strikes. They carry stun effects and have a wide area of impact. If he doesn't block the spell, his soldiers will be wiped out, and his mana will be drained. Deciding to strike, Jinwoo leaps toward the castle, aiming to cut off the wyvern's wings. As he gets close, Baron effortlessly blocks the attack with his sword. In retaliation, Baron swings his sword, sending Jinwoo flying into the ground, nearly unable to stand. Jinwoo is stunned when Baron generates another energy ball, firing it at him. Jinwoo barely avoids it, but a series of lightning strikes follow, and only his robe protects him. Suddenly, a powerful fireball intercepts the lightning strike, and Jinwoo is surprised to see its Tusk using Hymn of the Blazing Fire along with the Orb of Avarice. The two forces, Tusk's fireball and Baron's lightning strike, clash. However, because Tusk used the Orb of Avarice, his fireball strength is doubled, overpowering Baron's lightning strike and continuing toward him. Jinwoo, relieved that he gave the Orb of Avarice to Tusk, watches as the wyvern falls from the sky, crashing to the ground. Jinwoo pointed his dagger at Baron and said, "Finally, you're down. I'm tired of looking up at you." Baron, however, stood unfazed, and Jinwoo realized this would be a tough battle. The chapter begins with Jinwoo contemplating that he has skills that do not require mana, such as Commander's Touch, and the skill he uses to preserve his shadow soldiers. The Commander's Touch allows Jinwoo to exert physical force on an object without requiring mana. The only thing to remember is that the higher the skill level, the heavier the object he can move. Likewise, since his shadow soldiers have already been preserved, Jinwoo doesn't need mana to summon them. However, if they are destroyed, the situation changes. Destroyed shadow soldiers consume mana to regenerate, and once Jinwoo's mana is depleted, his shadow soldiers can no longer regenerate. Because of this, Jinwoo realizes that it is crucial to increase his intelligence stat. On the other hand, Baron possesses incredible strength as well as powerful magical capabilities. Jinwoo wonders how Baron's soldiers manage to move. If his own soldiers cannot regenerate after being destroyed, resummoning them should be draining his mana reserves. In the next scene, Baron is seen walking while holding his sword, emanating a strong aura. He unleashes an energy ball from his mouth. Tusk uses the Hymn of Protection to block the attack. Jinwoo notices that his mana is running low, and Baron doesn't give him a chance to replenish it due to his continuous attacks. Regenerating his high-ranking soldiers consumes a lot of mana when they're destroyed. Despite this, Jinwoo realizes he cannot fight without the help of his shadow soldiers. His only solution is to win before his mana runs out. As Iron charges at Baron with his axe, Baron easily deflects the attack with his fist, then stabs Iron in the face with his sword, releasing a powerful lightning energy that finishes him off. Igris then decides to leap into battle, slashing quickly, but Baron effortlessly avoids the attack, smiling as he unleashes a powerful energy wave from his mouth, finishing Igris. Without wasting time, Jinwoo dashes towards Baron and activates his critical attack skill. However, Baron easily deflects the attack, and Jinwoo is stunned to find that even his critical attack doesn't seem to work. As Jinwoo stands before Baron, The latter grabs his head effortlessly and lifts him with one hand. With his sword raised, it looks like Baron is ready to finish him off. Just as Baron's sword is about to strike, Igris and Iron regenerate and block the attack with their sword and axe. This allows Jinwoo to stab Baron with his dagger in the arm, finally landing a blow. Igris also manages to pierce Baron's other arm to prevent him from moving it. Despite this, Baron just smiles, his eyes turning red. With a mighty roar, he releases an intense wave of energy, creating a powerful shockwave that pushes Jinwoo back. Despite this, the determination in Jinwoo's eyes is clear. Baron raises both hands, lightning crackling from them as two swords materialize in his grasp. Meanwhile, Jinwoo raises his own two daggers, preparing for an intense battle. Jinwoo dashes forward again, and his daggers land on Baron and startled by this attack. Baron retaliates with a series of quick slashes, which Jinwoo blocks. Jinwoo activates critical attack again and unleashes another slash, but it is once again deflected. Both warriors exchange rapid slashes, each deflecting the other's attacks. In the midst of the battle, Baron manages to generate energy from his mouth once more. Jinwoo is caught off guard by how close Baron's attack is, and Baron releases it. Jinwoo is unable to dodge in time and try to deflect the attack with his blades, but the impact is so powerful that it sends Jinwoo's blades flying. This gives Baron an opportunity to strike with both of his swords. However, Jinwoo manages to stop him by grabbing both of Baron's hands. At this point, Jinwoo is in awe of Baron's strength. He notices Baron preparing to unleash another energy ball from his mouth and wonders if Baron is not running out of mana. Just as Baron releases the energy ball, a sword strikes him, distracting him and halting his attack. Jinwoo is confused, not knowing where the sword came from. It turns out the sword was thrown by Esil, whose hands are still trembling from her action. Baron is distracted by the attack and looks at Esil. Seeing this as his chance, Jinwoo decides to use the intelligence stat he had heavily invested in and activates Commander's Touch. With all his strength, Jinwoo rips Baron's hand off, surprising his opponent. Jinwoo then declares, "It's enough. It's time to end this," his aura flaring as he delivers a powerful uppercut to Baron's head, so strong that it rips off. Esil shouts Jinwoo's name in shock as she witnesses the event. In the following scenes, Baron's body crashes to the ground, and Jinwoo receives a notification from the system that he has defeated Baron the Demon King. Jinwoo also collects Baron's soul and completes the quest to collect the demon souls. Esil runs quickly towards Jinwoo, calling his name again. While Jinwoo is exhausted from the intense battle and nearly collapses, he still manages to speak to Esil. He tells her to inform her father that the Radish clan is now the #1 clan, a victorious smile on his face. Esil, tearfully staring at Jinwoo, corrects him, saying their clan's name is the Radaira clan, not the Radish clan. As the chapter ends, Jinwoo reaches level 97. The chapter began with Jinwoo defeating Baron. His shadow soldiers were busy collecting mana crystals. With his victory, Jinwoo had obtained several powerful items: the Demon Monarch's Ring, Demon King's Longsword, Demon King's Daggers, Baron's Horns, and the final item needed to complete the Holy Water of Life, the purified blood of the Demon King. The Demon King's Longsword had an attack boost of plus 350 and could activate the skill called Storm of White Flames every time it was swung. The Demon King's Daggers, with a plus 220 attack boost, and can trigger a skill called 2 as 1 when used together, which dealt damage based on the caster's strength stat. Jinwoo wore the Demon Monarch's Ring, and the system notified him that its effect would activate if he also wore the Demon Monarch's earring and necklace. His stats increased as a result. However, Jinwoo considered the purified blood of the Demon King to be the most important item. The liquid, which came from Baron's purified blood, contained powerful magic. Despite being purified, it still harbored poisonous substances. According to the system, in order to use it as a potion, Jinwoo would need the fragment of the World Tree, which he had obtained from Vulcan, and the spring water from the Forest of Echoes, which he had acquired from Metis, to neutralize the poison. Esil, watching quietly, wondered if Jinwoo was okay. Meanwhile, Jinwoo began crafting the Holy Water of Life. The system prompted him to confirm if he wanted to craft it, and Jinwoo quickly selected yes. The crafting process began, and the system displayed that the success rate and the number of items that could be crafted depended on the crafter's intelligence stat. Jinwoo thought to himself that if he had known earlier, he would have focused more on increasing his intelligence. Esil overheard him and pointed out that he shouldn't worry. If it was based on skill, there would definitely be no problem. The crafting began with the countdown. After the countdown finished, the system confirmed the successful creation of the holy water of life. And Jinwoo couldn't help but shout, "Yes." Esil clapped in excitement as well. However, Jinwoo noticed that only some of the Demon King's blood had been consumed, and a small portion of the world tree fragment had chipped away, but the spring water from the Forest of Echoes had vanished entirely. He realized that not all of the items would be depleted during crafting. Only the necessary amount was required. Staring at the crafted item, Jinwoo wondered if the holy water of life could truly cure his mother's illness. He knew he needed to hurry and find out. At that moment, Iron appeared, dragging Baron's wyvern they had defeated. Jinwoo smiled, realizing that Iron had figured out what to do next. The other shadow soldiers gave thumbs up in approval. Jinwoo then said the word "arise" to extract the wyvern, and Esil was stunned as she had never seen Jinwoo do this before. Jinwoo explained that he had the ability to extract beings and make them his shadows, though he couldn't extract demons. However, it seemed that the wyvern was an exception. As the wyvern was successfully extracted, the system prompted Jinwoo to name it. Jinwoo tried to remember its name, but could only recall something like Kaizelian or Kalakalan. He asked the wyvern for its name, but it didn't seem to respond. Esil remarked that Jinwoo wasn't very good with names. Jinwoo finally decided to name it Kaisel. As he did so, the wyvern let out a powerful roar and flapped its enormous wings. Esil told Jinwoo that if they rode Kaisel, they would return to her clan in no time. Jinwoo wondered if he needed to descend through each floor to exit the dungeon quickly. Esil added that once they returned to the clan, they would hold a banquet, and her father would be pleased. Jinwoo didn't pay much attention, his mind still focused on the rewards he had yet to receive. Jinwoo then received his rewards from the regular quest. The first was a top-tier runestone that contained the skill Shadow Exchange. The second was a plus 30 bonus stat, and the third was an undisclosed reward, the title Demon Slayer. However, the system noted that Jinwoo hadn't met all the requirements for the title yet. Focusing on the first reward, Jinwoo cracked the runestone, and the Shadow Exchange skill was activated. This skill allowed him to swap places with a selected shadow soldier with a cooldown period of 3 hours, though it depended on the skill's level. Jinwoo was ecstatic, exclaiming that it was amazing to be able to swap places with his soldiers, essentially allowing him to teleport. Esil, however, seemed disappointed that Jinwoo didn't appear interested to her. She decided to help the shadow soldiers collect more mana crystals instead. Jinwoo, noticing their effort, said, "Good work, everyone," and told Esil he needed to leave without her. Esil, concerned, asked about the banquet. Jinwoo explained that her clan was on the 80th floor and that it was too far for him to join. He activated his new Shadow Exchange skill and said to Esil, "I'll see you around. Goodbye." In an instant, Jinwoo disappeared, and the system confirmed that Shadow Exchange had been activated. Esil, left speechless, looked at the shadow soldier that had taken Jinwoo's place, and they exchanged confused glances, unsure of what had just happened. The scene shifted to Jinwoo, who had returned to his neighborhood. Since he had defeated the dungeon boss, the area began to restore to its original state. Jinwoo smiled, pleased that his skill had worked, and noted that he could use it again after a cooldown of 2 hours and 59 minutes. He then called out to his new shadow, Kaisel, and mounted the wyvern. As they soared under the full moon and across the starry sky, Jinwoo was on his way to the hospital where his mother was being treated, the city lights shimmering below. Meanwhile, at the Hunter Association office, Woo Jin-chul and Chairman Go were discussing a video from Japan, where ants were detected using satellite cameras that could detect mana. Chairman Go thought to himself that all 3 of the destroy missions had been documented by the Japan Hunter Association, just as Go-To Ruji had assured. The ants crawled out of their tunnels, leaving behind the queen and her guards. According to the documents, their appearance had changed, which seemed to be proof that they were evolving with each generation. Each generation likely lasted about a year, since that was the average lifespan of the ants, Chairman Go added. He also worried about the guards protecting the queen, as well as the beasts that were likely guarding her, considering it was a high-ranking dungeon. He turned to Wu Jinchul and asked, "Once the ants learn their queen is in danger, what are the chances they'll return to the tunnels before we get the job done?" Wu Jinchul replied, "We'll be sending out jamming signals. The ants communicate with each other using special waves, so we can use radio signals to confuse them." Chairman Go then stated, "In that case, our only concern should be the queen and her guards." Just then, Chairman Go stood up, sensing a powerful mana wave from a distance. He wondered what was happening, prompting Wu Jinchul to ask if something was wrong. Chairman Go quickly inquired whether Wu Jinchul had managed to contact Jinwoo, to which Wu Jinchul replied that he was doing everything he could. The scene then shifted to a restaurant where Baek Yoonho and another hunter were eating. Yoonho asked his companion if he had felt the strong mana waves. The hunter responded that even though he had retired from being a hunter, he hadn't lost his touch with such things. Still puzzled, Yoonho wondered what could have caused the wave. His companion jokingly said that it was likely the result of a clash between Choi Jong-in and Cha Hae-in over their share in the guild. As they joked and drank, Yoonho was told to turn that frown upside down, to which he laughed and agreed. Meanwhile, it was revealed that Baek Yoonho's companion is the retired S-rank healer, Min Byung-gu. Before we wrap up this arc, if you enjoyed the video, please take a moment to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Thank you. The chapter begins with Baek Yoonho and Min Byung-gu still drinking outside. Byung-gu asks Yoonho if he wants to hear something funny. Yoonho immediately replies, "No," to which Byung-gu responds with a mischievous, "Gotcha." In Yoonho's mind, everything about Min Byung-gu, including his sense of humor, seems a little odd. He is the first S-rank hunter to retire, despite being in perfect shape. In fact, he's not just the first. He's the only one in the world. Yoonho also thinks that S-rank hunters are paid handsomely and wonders why Byung-gu quit being a hunter. After all, he doesn't come from a wealthy family. Suddenly, Byung-gu asks Yoonho if he is serious about joining the Jeju Island raid. Yoonho quickly answers with a confident yep. Byung-gu then asks, "But you saw how Yoon Seok died, right?" Yoonho responds, "All the more reason I want to go," adding that if they don't deal with these ants, everyone in the country will suffer the same fate. Byung-gu raises an eyebrow. "When did you become so patriotic?" he asks. Yoonho replies that he needs to go either way, so he might as well do it for a good reason. "Well, I'm not going." "No way in hell," Byung-gu says, noting that if Yoonho is here to recruit him, he's talking to the wrong person. Before Byung-gu can finish, Yoonho interrupts, explaining that he only came to say goodbye because he doesn't know what will happen to them. Byung-gu is stunned by this. He pauses, then shares that he's been preparing for the teacher certification exam because he wants to become a teacher and live a normal life. Yoonho is shocked and confirms, "You really want to be a teacher?" Byung-gu nods, revealing that he knows about Eugene Construction building a guild and looking for experienced hunters. They contacted him for the guild master position, and several companies had offered him positions after his retirement. However, he explains, "I may not look like it, but I'm not cut out for a job where people die and kill." He shakes his head, his feet trembling as he continues, "That's why I want to take the teacher exam. I'm thinking of teaching Korean history." Yoonho, still surprised, asks, "Why Korean history?" Byung-gu shrugs and says, "You know me. I love historical dramas." Yoonho can't help but mutter, "You're such a nutcase." Byung-gu laughs and replies, "No, this is just what an ordinary life looks like. I just want to read about wars in history books, not fight in real life." In Yoonho's mind, Byung-gu seems to be a normal person, and it's the hunters who are the abnormal ones. Yoonho reflects that there aren't many hunters who don't want to fight magic beasts. Maybe a few healers, who are all about healing. Then, Yoonho wonders if a desire for combat is a requirement to become an awakened being. But he quickly dismisses this idea. He offers Byung-gu another glass of alcohol, asking, "Another drink?" Byung-gu laughs and responds with a sarcastic, "Yes, Your Highness." The scene shifts to a hospital, where Jinwoo's mother is. Jinwoo has just arrived and opens the window to enter the room. As he does, He thinks that if anything goes wrong, there will be no turning back. He's unsure if his mother will be able to swallow the holy water of life and whether it will cure her. However, Jinwoo recalls how the system's effects on him were miraculous, and he needs to trust the system once again. He opens the bottle of holy water of life and approaches his mother. As he gets closer, his hands start to tremble, but he pushes forward, silently begging. After he successfully feeds her the holy water of life, he notices a scar on his mother's neck. The memory of when he was a child, trying to wash her hair and accidentally causing a burn mark on her neck, flashes through his mind. He realizes that even though he made a terrible mistake, his mother was always worried about him. As he looks at the scar, Jinwoo thinks to himself that he is the reason it's there. He then looks at her mother's face and sees that her color is slowly returning, but she still hasn't woken up. He pleads with her in his mind. This is the reason he's been working so hard to get stronger. Please wake up, he whispers, his voice breaking. Let me carry the weight that you've borne for all these years, Mom. Meanwhile, in Jinwoo's apartment, his younger sister wonders why she can't seem to concentrate these days. She steps outside and feels a warm gust of wind. Maybe summer is coming soon, she thinks, as the wind feels warmer than usual. Back at the hospital, Jinwoo waits anxiously for his mother to wake up. Then, suddenly, a silhouette of a woman appears behind the curtain. Jinwoo, is that you? The figure asks. It's his mother, now awake. She asks, how long have I been sleeping? Jinwoo can hardly believe his eyes. For years, he responds, stunned. His mother is equally shocked. Where is Gina? Is she okay? Jinwoo, still trembling, assures her. Yeah, she's doing well. After that, his mother smiled and thanked him for keeping his promise. His mother looks at his hands, which are covered in bruises and scars, and softly says, My son, you've been through a lot, haven't you? Unable to hold back his tears, Jinwoo's eyes fill with emotion. Yeah, he whispers. And so ends the return to Demon Castle arc. The next arc, one of the most anticipated in solo leveling, is the Jeju Island arc, where Jinwoo, after finally curing his mother of the eternal slumber, plans to stay behind to care for her. However, he's forced to change his mind when a monstrous ant appears during the raid.